A day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Friday, the 24th day of February 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Remember to observe the rules of the road. By so doing, then the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday and to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts are proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to you is to live your best life and make sure your family can too. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. And right here from Radio Cayman, we want to extend our sincere condolences to the family of the late Mr. Gene Thompson, who passed away this week as well. Prominent businessman in the Cayman Islands, also coming from a prominent family in the Cayman Islands. So to his family and friends, all of his loved ones, we here at Radio Cayman want to extend our sincere condolences to the family of the late Mr. Gene Thompson. For those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on a toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord @candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925 3261. Follow us on YouTube by simply subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. We are also on Facebook as well. So let's look at the birthdays this morning, and to remind you again that For the Record birthday shout-outs are proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice today to you is live your best life and make sure your family can too. So, birthday greetings. First of all, Radio Cayman's own Silver Fox, Mr. Paul Akal, celebrating a birthday today. So we want to wish him a happy birthday. And let's see some of the Facebook posts here. We have Barbara King celebrating a birthday. Mikhail Campbell also celebrating a birthday today. I think he's one of the communications officers at the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. Also, Casey Phillips celebrating a birthday today. Mr. Dale celebrating a birthday. And Kamoy Radic also celebrating a birthday today. So for all of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. And if you know someone who's celebrating a birthday today, then let us know. You can do so either by calling in or sending us a WhatsApp message informing us, or if someone is celebrating one over the weekend as well, so you want to wish them a happy birthday in advance, because we won't be having the birthday shout-outs again until Monday, God's willing as well. So if you know someone who is celebrating a birthday. Oh, also, yes, Dr. Linford Pearson celebrating a birthday today, and we want to wish him a happy birthday as well. Dr. Pearson, all the best to you, and may you live to see many, many more as well. Then what do we have here? We say greetings to Miss Lynn Whitaker. She celebrated a birthday yesterday, and Donna Whitaker is celebrating a birthday today. So belated happy birthday greetings to Miss Lynn Whitaker, who celebrated a birthday yesterday, and happy birthday to Miss Donna Whitaker, who's celebrating a birthday today, and they're coming from Miss Jewel from Northside as well. So again, want to thank Miss Jewel for those. If you know someone who's celebrating, please let us know as well. And to remind you that today's For the Record birthday shoutouts are proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to you today is to live your best life and make sure your family can too. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we want to share with you some of the press releases that have been sent out by the government. I think there's one there from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service in relation to email scam that may be going around. And also, if time allows, we will share with you press release, a media release from the Department of Labor and Pensions advising of that parts of the National Pensions Amendment Act have commenced, and we will give you the details of those as well. So folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
In the early 1900s, the sister islands enjoyed a relative prosperity, with the cultivation and subsequent exports of coconut being the primary industry, as Commissioner Sanguinetti would note during his 1902 visit.
Business seemed brisk. There has been a very large coconut crop, such as not born for years, and the carrying capacity of the island vessels to deal with the export of nuts have been shipped between October and February last.
The coconut industry would continue to expand with the expansion of plantations into large tracts of unused land.
Information from this historical vignette was sourced from Founded Upon the Seas, A History of the Cayman Islands and Their People by Michael Creighton and the New History Committee.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
It's all about humanity.
It will be Saturday, March 4th, the 11th annual Rotary Central Health Check, the almost island-wide Rotary Health Screening. See us at Foster's Republic's West Bay, cost you less at Governors Square, West Bay Road, A.L. Thompson's Georgetown, Foster's at Countryside in Savannah, Bordentown, from 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Take advantage of a free mini-medical, a physician's check on your blood pressure, your A1C, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your healthy weight evaluation, and more. The 11th Annual Rotary Central Health Check in conjunction with the Health Services Authority. Saturday, March 4. Save this date that could save your life. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Upgrade your summer travel plans with non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to Panama. Panama airfares are now on sale from just $296 CI round trip. In just 2 hours aboard Cayman Airways, you can be in a land where the Caribbean meets the Pacific, where you'll find modern cities, rainforests, and so much more. Book by March 4th to catch Panama airfares on sale. Other conditions apply. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Panama getaway today.
They say you only live once. I say you only die once, but you live every day. I'm Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, longtime supporter of Radio Cayman. Live your life, my friends. Happiness is in the journey, not the destination. When you're ready, I'm here to support you with the best financial decisions for your family's future. Cayman Insurance Center, protecting you and your family so you can take back your future. I'm Michael Webster, the sure way to protect your family. Call me when you're ready at 925-5433. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets.
Think life insurance.
System one loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have another birthday greeting that we will be announcing as well, and that is Miss Juliet Reed. Happy birthday greetings coming from your niece, Rose. So we want to say happy birthday greetings to Miss Juliet Reed as well. I also see where Luke News has published something advising, an article advising that the Cayman Islands government has given up the Miss Cayman Islands Universe franchise as well. And we will have Minister Kenneth Bryan in the studio, so I'm sure that we will be talking about that as well. Meanwhile, what I want to share with you before I introduce our guest into the studio, that the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service yesterday put out a press release warning against 2 fraudulent email activities that are circulating in the Cayman Islands, and I will read it verbatim for you. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has recently received a number of reports stating that members of the public have been receiving emails that appear to be from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service's Financial Crimes Investigation Unit using the email address of frauddesk@rcips.ky. These emails carry an attachment of a letter which impersonates the Commissioner of Police and claim to be regarding an investigation into fraudulent activity known as a Dolphin Trust scam at the Cayman National Bank. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service can confirm that this is a fraudulent email and that no such email address exists within the service. An investigation is being carried out, and members of the public are encouraged not to open or respond to these emails, but instead to forward them and any similar emails directly to the Digital Forensic Hub at Royal RCIPS-DFH@rcips.ky. Additionally, members of the public are being reminded that the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, as well as any legitimate financial institution, will not ask you to share personal information via emails. You are therefore being encouraged to call your financial institution or the police to verify such requests, and where possible, speak with someone in person before complying with any requests made by the email. Anyone with information is encouraged to call the Digital Forensic Hub at 649-4301 during regular business hours, or email rcips-dfh@rcips.ky. And then also, in addition, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has recently received a number of reports from members of the public that have received emails claiming to be from an ex-Royal Cayman Islands police officer who no longer resides or works in the Cayman Islands. The email comes from, again, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, Sarah.Mensner, MENCNEER @gov.ky. The email has a link in the body of it to download a PDF. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has identified the link as malicious, and it is no longer active. And again, they want to remind the community to never click on a link in any email unless you are absolutely certain that it came from a legitimate source. Is there any doubt about the authenticity? Always check with the original sender before clicking the links. So I'm sharing that with you. If you have access to this press release, share it with others, share it with family members as well, because we want to ensure that no one is caught up in these scams as well. So with that, I'm going to say good morning and welcome to For the Record to Minister Kenneth Bryan. Minister, good morning. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to your listening audience. It's a pleasure to be back here on Radio Cayman. I think the last time I was here was last year. But it's an honor to be back on the radio. A lot has been going on within my ministry. So I thought I'd come in today, get to hear my people, hear their concerns and their questions in respect to the areas of responsibility that I have. And even those areas of responsibility are not under me constitutionally as minister, but if I have an answer that I can update the public on behalf of the park administration, I will do so. I need to really get these communications with, particularly through Radio Cayman, because Radio Cayman is, in my humble opinion, the last true radio station left in the country where I know that the listening audience are those who are Caymanian. So with that being said, I am here. I got some updates. You were about to read a press release that was sent out this morning in respect to Ms. Cayman.
Yes.
I can leave that to you if you want me to, or we could do that after the break.
Yeah, what we can do in the meantime, and I'll just remind our listening audience that we also have that press release from Loop on our Facebook page if they want to access it as well. But what I'd like you to do is to give our listening audience a preview of some of the things that you're going to be discussing this morning before we go to the 8 o'clock news.
That sounds like a great idea. So some things that have come up recently is the port report suggesting the concerns that we're having with the Port Authority and the ability to import goods into our country. We have a recent report to say that within the next decade, within the next 10 years, we're going to max out, which forces me as minister on behalf of you, the people, to examine what we're going to do. We can't wait 10 years and when the problem happens, we've got to start planning for it because it's such a major infrastructure, what we're going to do. I know that creates a lot of questions, concerns, as we know with cruise, the big talk about the environment and development and so forth. But it's something we have to talk about, so I want your feedback on that. Also, the Miss Cayman situation, which is, in my humble opinion, finally over, because I was so over that and glad to move forward as we focus on bringing more tourists here. Traffic, as me being the Minister for Transport, meaning the public transportation system, I want to make sure that is clear because I'm not the minister with the responsibility for roads or DVDL. Sometimes I get most of the criticisms for the other things, but I only am in control of the licensing of the public buses. Working on a report on that. I'll give you a little update on that when we get back. Also, the next thing is Panama. We're launching into Panama on June the 29th. Cayman Airways, I'm happy to have that. There's going to be so many benefits we're going to talk about with that.
And Radio Cayman is carrying the adverts on that as well, right here on Radio Cayman.
Yes, so we should put everything that government does on Radio Cayman. So whoever is listening in charge of that, there should be all government things should be advertised on this radio station. The other things that are going on, obviously, we have our final numbers for 2022, and I'm very, very proud of my team. So much to say that we did so well. We made more money than we thought we would. My team has pushed really hard and got more numbers than we thought we would have. And 2023 looks great. I want to also talk about my recent travels as the chairman of the CTO, which is the Caribbean Tourism Organization. Some of you may remember that I was awarded to be the chairman of the Caribbean last year. And I've been doing some traveling, and I got to travel again in another week and a half to Barbados to go visit the office. But recently met with my colleagues within the region, talking about the ways forward, give you a little update on that, and anything else the public wants to talk about. Also, lastly, before I quickly wrap up for the 8 o'clock news, I know that my beautification committee that falls under my ministry was on here yesterday talking about beautification and where we are with keeping the country clean. And I want to double down on what they said yesterday and add more to it. We are not doing enough. And we need to do more. So let's talk about that when we get back from the
break. And then also we have 3 new Caymanian appointees to the Department of Tourism as well. We want to congratulate them also.
3 amazing individuals.
Yep. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, the conversation with Minister Kenneth Bryan will continue, so please stay tuned.
What you got for lunch?
I'm having a red lentil penne pasta with Go Veggie dairy-free cheese.
And what's in the bag?
Fresh bellies, dried roasted red pepper snacks.
All I have are cup noodles. Where do you get all this fancy stuff?
It's all from Foster's Camana Bay in the Foster's Fine section, aisle 8.
All this at Foster's?
Yep. With new specialty items each month, you can even visit fosters.ky/finds to discover something new.
Trade ya.
Foster's. Better selection because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm April Cummings. The Ministry of Tourism and Transport, with the support of Cabinet, announces it has relinquished the Miss Cayman Islands Universe franchise. The ministry says it has advised the Miss Universe organization of the decision and consulted with the chair of the local organizing committee accordingly. In a statement released this morning, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister of Tourism and Transport, said the Cayman Islands tourism industry is still in recovery, and the ministry is heavily focused on driving visitation and returning tourism arrivals back to pre-pandemic. He says he's hopeful that a private sector entity will step up and take over the franchise. The new reigning queen, Miss Chloe Powery Doxy, will continue to act as the representative of the pageant with the support of the local organizing committee, who will oversee her activities until August 31st, when her reign officially comes to an end. The Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency releases its Climate Change Risk Assessment Report. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego has more.
The final evidence report of the Climate Change Risk Assessment identifies, scores, and ranks 50 risks related to biodiversity and habitats, the economy, and society in the Cayman Islands. Key findings: the risk report analyzed several important physical climate change drivers and impacts, including changes in storms, cyclones, winds, waves, and storm surges, sea level rise, increasing air and sea temperatures, changes in ocean salinity, ocean acidification, and changes to rainfall patterns. Local and regional data reveal that many of these impacts are already occurring, including fewer but more severe rainfall events, increased frequency and intensity of tropical cyclones, and increases in air and sea temperatures. Of the 50 risks analyzed in the Climate Change Risk Assessment, 18 were considered severe, based on a combined review of magnitude, seriousness, proximity, urgency, and confidence of available scientific data. Of the 18 severe risks, 9 are related to the economy and society, and 9 are related to biodiversity and habitats. Severe risks include impacts to marine species such as sea turtles and corals, loss and damage to natural habitats, disruption to the energy sector, and damage and inundation of key infrastructure such as sewerage systems, roads, airports, coastal settlements, ports, and shipping traffic. As for the next steps, the microsite launched to host the Climate Change Risk Assessment documents will become the central hub for updates on the climate change policy. Once the working draft of the policy has been finalized by a technical working group, the ministry says the document will be put before Cabinet for review and approval to commence public consultation. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
The full Cayman Islands Climate Change Risk Assessment Technical Evidence Report and non-technical summary document are available for review at gov.ky. The Cayman Islands Government Department of Communication announces the appointment of Anik Jackman as Head of Content and Production. In her new role, she will support the Department of Communication by leading an end-to-end, high-quality branded content strategy, as well as planning, production, and delivery on CIG-owned channels in order to ensure government priorities are communicated effectively to the public and grow engagement in the work of government. That is your local news. I'm April Cummings. Now to the BBC for the latest making headlines around the world.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Ukraine will do everything to achieve victory this year in a statement marking the anniversary of Russia's invasion. Mr. Zelensky said Ukraine had inspired and unified the world in its resistance. Ceremonies to mark the anniversary are taking place in citizen towns across Ukraine. The occasion has not been mentioned on Russian state television, but the former President Dmitry Medvedev has suggested on social media that Russia should push Ukrainian forces back all the way to the Polish border. The US has announced a raft of new sanctions against Moscow and those enabling its war effort. It said the measures would affect individuals and entities in Russia, Europe, Asia and the Middle East. The authorities in Cambodia have been testing people for a strain of bird flu after the death of a child raised concerns about possible human-to-human transmission. The girl was Cambodia's first known death from the virus since 2014. The Supreme Court of Kenya has ruled that it was wrong for the authorities to ban the gay community from registering a rights organisation. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
It's all about humanity.
It will be Saturday, March 4th, the 11th annual Rotary Central Health Check, the almost island-wide Rotary Health Screening. See us at Foster's Republic's West Bay, Cost You Less at Governor Square, West Bay Road, A.L. Thompson's Georgetown, Foster's at Countryside in Savannah, Bordentown, from 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Take advantage of a free mini-medical, a physician's check on your blood pressure, your A1C, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your healthy weight evaluation, and more. The 11th Annual Rotary Central Health Check in conjunction with the Health Services Authority. Saturday, March 4. Save this date that could save your life. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
RC Fusion.
Monday to Thursday.
10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Fridays. Radio Cayman.
Biggest variety in the morning. Biggest variety.
RC Fusion.
Following the 10 a.m. news headline.
Biggest variety in the morning.
Upgrade your summer travel plans with non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to Panama aboard Cayman Airways. Explore the modern city, rainforests, historic towns, the Panama Canal, and so much more. Panama airfares are now on sale from just $2.96 CI round trip. Book by March 4th. Other conditions apply. Call 949-2311 or you can contact your travel agent or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Panama getaway today.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 78 degrees. Relative humidity is 83%. The barometric pressure, 30.13 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east-northeast at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 76 degrees. Synoptics indicate moderate easterly winds and seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next couple of days as a ridge of high pressure lingers north of the Caribbean. The forecast for today calling for fair to partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be east to northeast 10 to 15 knots with higher gust, and seas will be moderate to rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Small craft should exercise caution over open water. Tonight, mainly fair skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures dipping to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. High tide will be this afternoon at 12:19. Low tide tonight at 6:58. The sun will set this evening at 6:28 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:48. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through tomorrow morning. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Hey, Bill. Glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Britke. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britke, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Mastering the art of communication can open doors for you.
As Susie Kassem wrote in her book, Rise Up and Salute the Sun, we cannot control the way people interpret our ideas or thoughts, but we can control the words and tones we choose to convey them. Peace is built on understanding, and wars are built on misunderstandings. Never underestimate the power of a single word, and never recklessly throw around words. One wrong word or misinterpreted word can change the meaning of an entire sentence and start a war. And one right word or one kind word can grant you the heavens and open doors.
Change your thinking. Change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic coming from the east, steady but flowing traffic, as well as on Shamrock Road and the Linford Pearson Highway. Some cruise ships in port this morning, so be aware of that as you maneuver Seafarers Way. As we look to Cool Road, busy traffic heading to Georgetown. Eastbound traffic on Cool Road is moving along moderately. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, steady but flowing traffic, as well as off of Agnes Way. Moderate flow of traffic in both directions on Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue. As we look to downtown Georgetown on Edward Street, light to moderate traffic flow. Shedden Road as well, moderate flow of traffic. And coming from the West Bay four-way stop, traffic is moving on pretty good. Coming off of Esley Tibbetts Highway, steady traffic heading towards the Butterfield roundabout. And moderate flow of traffic in both directions on North Sound Road. Industrial Park area, traffic moving on moderately. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Have a good morning and drive safe.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce. All piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Each one of us is different, and so are our health needs. Health City's executive health checks are packaged for you as an individual, including optional add-ons tailored to your health journey. We have a variety of health checks to suit your age, gender, lifestyle, and family medical history. Visit healthcity.ky to find the health check package that suits you best and book your Health City health check today. At Health City, we know healthy looks different on everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Britk. Good like that.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister responsible for tourism, transport, and tourism and transport?
Tourism and transport.
Boy,
Should be tourism and ports, not transport. But I'm still fighting to get that changed.
Okay.
I'm not fully responsible for transport, but I'm doing my part to help with that solution of the problem that we have, traffic.
Okay, before I throw the mic back over to you, we want to send birthday greetings in advance to Miss Tracy Rankin. She will be celebrating her birthday tomorrow, Saturday the 25th of February. And happy birthday greetings coming with love and pride from her parents, Virginia and Casdale, her brother, Mark, and family, sisters, Tiffany and Melissa, and their families as well. And also coming from your Daybreaker friends, Tracy, and hopefully, if you, depending on how much you celebrate on Saturday and Saturday night, we may see you on the bike on Sunday morning with the Daybreaker cycling group as well. So again, happy birthday greetings going out to Miss Tracy Rankin with love and pride coming from your parents, Virginia and Casdale, brother Mark and his family, sisters Tiffany and Melissa and their families as well. So, Minister, over to you, and just let us know when we want to open the phone lines up after you've covered everything that you want, so that our listeners can then converse with you as well. Over to you,
sounds
sir.
great. Now I want to try to do that as soon as possible because I do want to hear from the people. First, before I want to get started, I want to send my condolences to the Borden family. I'm not sure if you are aware, but Miss Eloisa Borden passed away a few days ago.
Oh, yes.
She was a key component to my constituency, and my heart and sympathy goes out to her husband, Mr. Richard Borden, and her kids, Eloisa, and her grandchildren, Bryan, and all those that are family connections to everybody. She's surely going to be missed. And also, my heart goes out to the Thompson family, with Jane Thompson being passed. And I must say, OC, I've only become familiar with the Thompson brothers because Kel is also very, very important. He retired yesterday, by the way. So congratulations to him on his retirement. And today is his birthday, so happy birthday to him. But the magnitude of what Gene Thompson has done for the Cayman Islands in respect to its development and its growth and the major things that it has here is mind-blowing as I got to know him over the last 10 years. And what an amazing individual, a God-fearing man, a businessman all the same, but he helped with the growth of this country, and I didn't think I would be as affected by his passing as I did, but I'm going to miss conversations with him. I'm going to miss his viewpoint on what's good for Cayman and stuff, because I used to call him quite often. And then I think about tourism and what he's done for tourism. I mean, he basically started medical tourism in the Cayman Islands. He was also a partner in the dolphin discovery. We do tours for tourists. And the many other things, the long list of things that he's been doing with him and his family over the years is just too much. And I'm quite sure that you'll hear things either through Facebook or on the radio or at his celebration of life in the coming days. But I just want his family to know that your father, your uncle, your brother, your nephew, your son, he was an amazing man, and I'm just glad to be able to have been alive in a time to have had conversations with him. And I'm happy that the last conversation we had, we were laughing a lot, and my heart goes out to all the people that love him, because I know he's going to be missed tremendously.
Definitely.
Anyway, with that being said, trying to refocus my heart and my mind now, back to work. So the big one, recent announcement is the Port Authority and its internal report that was done suggesting that we need to start thinking about how we are going to deal with a pending problem, which is that the country will not be able to expand any further in its imports based on projections in the next 10 years, which is a food security issue. We are a growing society. We're a developing society. Some people say too fast. But even at an average rate within the next 10 years, we won't be able to import anymore. That means that if we grow past 10 years, we won't be able to allow people in, because what will happen is food will become more and more expensive, because you can't bring it in fast enough. And nobody wants to actually ever feel that. The only thing I can possibly give people for a visual is when you had a storm, a major hurricane, and we're waiting for supplies to come in, and people are fighting over those supplies. And I don't want to make it seem that dire, but that's the only example I can think of, because when you have more people than you have supplies, then you see the severity of the problem. That's why food security is a national issue no matter where you go in the world. And because it's going to take so long to potentially resolve that predicted problem, I thought it was important that I get that report out to the public to say we're going to have to start making some decisions as a government and as a people, because though the government is elected on your behalf, we have a prime example of what we saw happen with the past administration with the cruise component. But this is not cruise, this is food. This has nothing to do with cruise ships. This has to do with the importation of goods and materials and so forth for our day-to-day lives. So basically, the report says that in 10 years, we're either going to have to expand the current port downtown and also potentially find more land around the holding location, which is an industrial park. Now, even that holding location has been maxed out. Adjacent lands around it we were trying to acquire. The Port Authority, before I became minister, had tried to acquire some land around it. Wasn't in the financial position due to COVID and so forth. And the landowner ended up selling it. They have a right to do that. And so they missed out the opportunity for any expansions there. So just in context, you have in order to expand your port facilities, you have to expand in both locations the ability to bring in cargo, which is the dock side, and the ability to store cargo, which is your port side, which is your land side. So we're caught off guard on both entities, right? So we can always try to do a two-part component where you find another shipyard, but where you're going to find that in Georgetown is the other question, right? And also as we grow and our imports become more frequent in larger amounts, the economic scale of benefit will happen is that you'll have bigger ships coming in, and the bigger ships cannot hold at the current location in respect to cargo. Neither can our cranes reach over to them. So the body of these ships will be a lot wider, a lot longer, and the depth of it will be deeper. The draft of it. That's the appropriate words, yeah. So, and it sounds, it's worrying for me as a politician because it sounds exactly like what they said in cruise. The ships are going to get bigger. And the question is, well, why don't we just continue to use the smaller ones? Maybe that could be a possibility. We can ensure that the cargo companies here continue to force the shipping that they do at the smaller ones. But that's a open free market. You may end up forcing a situation that causes the goods to go up because they're only using a certain type of shipment. And businesses are going to do whatever it takes to make it cheaper so they can sell it cheaper to make a bigger profit. And even if you did that, it doesn't resolve the problem of where the holding location for the goods. And even now, as the port is, sometimes the current ships that come in, when they come in, they actually have to offload a little bit first, go out, turn around, and come back in because the depth of the draft there is not deep enough. And nobody wants to talk about dredging, which is totally fine, but just recognize that we will have some effects of that decision. Ultimately, if you don't want to do that, just know they're going to potentially increase costs or affect your deliverables in respect to these goods and services. Anyway, so that's basically what the circumstances downtown. Now, in that report, it also suggests that we consider other locations. And some of the other locations were Red Bay, East End, North Side, and within the North Sound itself. But the primary one that it was selected or recommended was actually in the Breakers area. And that's just right before you get to, what's that bar called again? South Coast Bar. South Coast Bar. And right on the South Coast Bar there, right before you get there, there's a very sharp drop into deeper waters. And coincidentally, there is also just north of the road a old quarry owned by I think
Scott's Quarry.
I think it's the Woods, if my memory serves me. Don't hold me to that, but
right on the before you make the turn to go to,
there's a side road that goes into the quarries.
Yeah, I believe that was. I know Scott's at one point in time had.
It could be the Scott's, could be the Bordens, could be anybody, but the whole point of it is that those quarries are coming to the end of their life. And once a quarry is done, there's nothing you can do with it. It just becomes an empty hole in the country. And as this problem becomes a reality, it presents an opportunity to make useful of a location. For one, the quarries, the depth of them would allow for a cargo location. There is land around the quarries that are under the constitutional provisions allowed for us for food security. We could acquire it, and the access to those quarries would be really, really close to deep waters without any the least amount of environmental damage in any other location. Because even if we considered expanding downtown, there would be some damage to the coral heads downtown in order to get deeper water, as well as to fill in and expand the structure of the dock, meaning getting a larger like a pier, if I dare say. I don't like using that word because when you think pier, you think cruise and all the negative about that. But the docks itself and its length will have to go out. So there's all that cement work that will have to happen. Unlike this one, which is in the reverse, you're going inland, so you're docking up against land as opposed to building a pier. So that's what the report suggests. But I know that that report would be very, very controversial. So I said, listen, the only thing I can do, I'm a politician. I know how this thing works. And I know that persons who have particular positions are going to have their viewpoints and they're going to come after you. My job as the Minister for Tourism and Transport and responsible for port is to alert the country that we have a problem coming. It's about the ability to import goods and foods for our people. And because of the timeline to do any severe expansions or resolve to the problem, these projects don't happen within 1 year or 2 years. It takes 6 to 10 years to get finished. And the projections are already saying that in 10 years. So basically, we're supposed to be starting today on this resolution. So I put the report out. I know that there's people already concerned about the environment, rightfully so. But we will have to make some decisions as a country. There will have to be some sacrifices. It's quite similar to what we're dealing with the roads right now. And I'm glad to see that there's dialogue within our community about what the priority is over human life and the environment. And they're both very important. But I think it's fair to say that human life is more important than anything else. So what has happened now as a result of that outline case done by the port itself is that the cabinet has approved for an outline business case to be done, which talks about the feasibility of the options in the first report, what would the costing be, and whether or not we would take any of those options or potentially do nothing. One of which I must highlight I do not support. I do not want to be the minister who saw the problem, knew the problem, and then did nothing. Because I will feel guilt knowing that my children and my grandchildren, your grandchildren, matter of fact, the people I represent, will be in turmoil in 10 years. So after that report, the Port Authority is currently hiring a project manager to put an RFP together to send it out to the professionals in this field from a financial component and a development component and make recommendations back to government as to what we need to do. Now, I think once we see that final report and what it recommends, then, I think public consultation will obviously happen, just like they're doing with the roads right now, and ask people what they're feeling and what their thoughts are. And we have to make a call. And I think that sometime before the end of this year, we'll have something to say, government, people of the Cayman Islands, here's what we suggest you do with this potential problem coming. And I'm prepared as minister to do what it takes to make sure that the people of this country can eat. That's the top priority. So that's basically a summary of it. The report itself is available on the Port Authority website. It's also available on the Ministry of Tourism's website. Take a look at it for yourself. Don't make anybody tell you or sway you any one which way. Look at what it says. Look about the projections, the numbers, how many people live here, the growth rate, the population rate, the reality, regardless if it's in 10 years. Let me address one quick thing. Some people are going to say, well, why don't we slow down the population growth for a while? We could. And I think that's going to have to be something that's analyzed in this new report. Can we stretch it out maybe 11 years or 12 years or 20 years? But remember this, we're going to get to that number and we're going to need a cargo port eventually.
Definitely. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with Minister Bryan will continue, so please stay tuned.
She hear clunk and our car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Minister Kenneth, Bryan. Just to remind you that we will soon be opening the phone lines for you to converse with him as well. Just a few more topics that he wants to introduce before then as well. And also, very quickly, another birthday greeting here, again, to the Honorable Linford Pearson, whose birthday today is. Happy birthday greetings to him coming from the Crew Close neighbors, as well, Mr. So one more birthday greeting. Minister, over to you.
Happy birthday, happy birthday. Okay, so we just covered the port in a quick wrap-up, and I'm happy to take questions on that shortly. But I'm just going to update the other things, which is some better news. Cayman Airways service to Panama. I'm pretty sure you've heard in the news, but let me just tell you directly why we decided to do that. We believe there's great opportunities from a connectivity into the South American markets, which does have a very strong growing tourism opportunity based on all the data. Actually, it's the fastest growing tourism area, which is South America. Over the decades, and I know that South America, some of the countries have been seen to be surrounded with a lot of negativity. But a lot of those countries over the last, 50 years have been able to turn around their economies, and they've got some robust, good money, which means a strong middle class, which is our target market for our tourism visitor. As a result, in our efforts to diversify our customer base, rather than having all eggs in one basket, we're trying to not only deal with the North American, but the European, Asian, and South American markets. Because when you think about world disruption and events, whether it's war, whether it's economic, whether it's natural disasters, whether it's pandemics, you want to make sure that your main source isn't just one location. For example, we get 80% of our tourists from America. If America, for whatever reason, shuts its borders, we can be in a whole lot of trouble. And the concept of diversification of our tourism product is to make sure that if there's any kind of worldly disruptions, economic or otherwise, that if it's in one zone, that we don't get hurt too much. So if, hypothetically speaking, if you had 5 major source markets and each one of them accounted for 20%, if one of those source markets, for whatever reason, has something going on, we'd only have a loss of, say, 20% of activity. So that's the principle behind the diversification, and the South American market is a major one, and Panama is a main source hub for flights into the rest of the South American market. And with Copa and the main other airlines that are in that area, we have great opportunity for connectivity for that. Also, we know that Panama is a major trade location, and it's great opportunity for businesses here to do their business exchange to Panama, which normally where they come through anyway, and they do on their cargo ships and so forth. So the business element and cargo opportunity on the plane, because our planes that we have now compared to the old ones actually have 50% more capacity at the bottom of the plane than the old planes that we had. Okay. So there is great revenue opportunity for Cayman Airways from a cargo perspective, not only a leisure perspective and a business perspective. So we have a lot of hopes for this route. A lot of Caymanians are residents of Cayman are seeming to be rather excited about this route. So just so you're aware, we are starting that route on the 26th of June, which is Monday. And if my memory serves me right, I can't remember, I don't think I have the price here, but there's an introductory price of just $280 something. I need to get that information so I can have it on my phone. But the flights will be going out on Mondays, on Thursdays. The flight is only an hour and 50 minutes long, so very, very short flight. And you are just, I think it's an hour away from the main economic zone in Panama. I'm not into promoting too much tourism for Panama, but with the high cost of living for Cayman now, many of us will travel to Miami. Even Miami is getting a little expensive nowadays. So there is benefits for Caymanians to take a little trip somewhere different. As many people have never been there before, but at the same time, do some shopping like what we would normally do. I always say shop local, but if you have to, find the cheapest price that you can. So I'm really excited about this. This will start again June the 26th, flying Mondays and Thursdays. The flight is only an hour and 15 minutes. You can go up on the Monday, come back on the Thursday, or go up on the Thursday and come back on the Monday, which creates a great little vacation time while we continue to work with other airlines in the area to get visitors back. So I'm looking forward to that. Now moving on to the other part, in a new release that we got this morning, many of you may remember as a result of the Miss Tiffany Connolly, who was crowned Miss Cayman in the early part of last year, unfortunately, and I want to take this opportunity to say that, I wish her the best in her endeavors in her life. We all make mistakes. I am no angel. I've made mistakes, and thank the Lord, the good people of Georgetown Central and the Cayman Islands have given me an opportunity to prove that no matter what mistakes you make in your life, you can come back from it. And I expect the same from Tiffany. The unfortunate circumstances with her court matters and being found guilty has made the committee, the Cayman Islands, and many people in the community think it's just best that the crown be moved away from her while she deals with her personal matters in her life. And I pray for her, and I encourage everybody in Cayman to also pray for her. It could be your sister, it could be your daughter, it could be your niece, it could be your mother. We all go through struggles, and I continue to pray for her. As a result of that decision to take her crown from her, now we have a new queen, Miss Chloe, and the Miss Universe Committee will be doing an official crowning for her. We have decided that Miss Chloe will take on the reign until the rest of the year, which will go on till the end of August. Okay. As such, I announced that with all the controversy around a reigning queen having personal matters to deal with and the brand attachment. So nobody wants somebody who's going through things that seem to be negative attached to the brand Cayman with what is expected to their stature supposed to be perfect, so to speak, right? Nobody's perfect, but there's a certain level of standard you have to keep. When we were analyzing that, realizing that we wanted to, from an earlier stage, to say, okay, Tiffany, I think you need to go and deal with your own things while Miss Cayman's brand stays in high esteem. What we found out is that we couldn't do that at all because of the license agreement with the franchise Miss Universe internationally. So we couldn't take any action at all. And I know many people were upset to say, why is it that this young lady still had the crown and so forth? But we just didn't have the legal authority to do so, as the Miss Universe franchise said they wanted her to go to court and her court matter be resolved first. Anyway, with that being said, we know the end of the case. Unfortunately, she was found guilty. I don't wish bad on anybody, but as a result, we have to move forward. Throughout that exercise, it made me realize that we were in a very weak position as a government, the franchise holder, to have any say over what we can do or not do. So basically, if we kept the franchise and this happens again, we're forced to have a difficult situation and wait for the outcome, or the franchise, who is outside franchise owner, basically controls our destiny, and that's not what we wanted. So I deliberated over this with my colleagues and said, there's the legal obligations to it. I'm not sure if it's best suited for us as a government. I don't think government should probably be exposing itself to that because of the political look and all these other factors. So we have decided that we will no longer move forward with the franchise. We have let the Miss Universe organization know that by way of communication from email. And a press release has gone out today saying that we will no longer go forward with that. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all the committee members of the Miss Cayman Islands Universe, not only recently, but over the many, many decades, who've contributed their time, their free time, I must say, just for the love of pageantry and commitment to young women in the Cayman Islands. Thank you so much. And I'm planning a little celebration event to thank them because they didn't get paid for it. Gave up hours and hours and hours of their life just to allow one woman every year to have an opportunity to expose who she is in her development.
Are there any financial considerations by giving up the franchise? Do we forfeit anything at this point in time?
Well, the franchise was coming to an end the early part of this month anyway.
Okay.
So we had an opportunity. We were told that we need to renew, but then another component, which was we were forced to put it out to local tender rather than just automatic renewal. So the franchise itself, the organization itself, is going through a global reform, one that creates a lot of uncertainty, some changes in respect to eligibility, who can be involved. And I want to make sure this is clear. I have no problem with women who are married to be involved. I think it's actually a good thing. I think it was good that mothers who've had children to be involved. I think it shows the purity of what a woman can do, or do, because they're the mothers of the world. So I don't think they should ever be put aside in respect to that kind of competition. I think there would be greater value, in my humble opinion. But that's not the change that we're concerned about. I think there's other changes that may come that may put us in a political position that it doesn't reflect the Cayman Islands spirits. So I think it's just better suited with the private sector. And also the legal obligation if there is a problem from a branding perspective. Actually, OC, I'm going to say something rather controversial right now, but I have to open the thinking of everybody. I think the government actually should have some controls over any pageant that has Cayman Islands on it, because it's our brand. Now, we have, say, for example, Miss World. It's a private franchise, but it's saying Miss Cayman Islands World. And just like how we're relinquishing our franchise back and say we don't want it anymore, we can still have this brand problem even if government doesn't have the franchise, where you have a person who has, unfortunately, for whatever reason, brought negative attention to the Cayman Islands brand, but we can't do anything about it. I think there should be some intermediary ability by government to say, we can have the right to say, no, you can't wear the Cayman Islands brand internationally, because
if you're using any symbols that
I guess symbols,
because otherwise it becomes very difficult, because I'm
sports,
we're all identified as Caymanians, as well, and the question would be then, how much control should government have over the fact that I'm a Caymanian? But what and we have to go to a commercial break. But when we return, what we can talk about with that is that I think that legitimately it brought more attention to the government of the Cayman Islands than the government needed. The government didn't need to be, having that attention, and the minister, being, criticized and stuff for it. So let the private sector deal with it. There are other things that government allows the private sector. And I believe we're probably unique to the extent that with the government holding the franchise. I'm not sure how many small jurisdictions where that happens, or whether or not in most instances it's done by private. So let's take that commercial break, and when we return, you can share that information with us as well.
Because I don't want people thinking that I don't that government doesn't appreciate that.
Yes, certainly.
I just think that it creates conflicts for us that we didn't need. And Cayman brand, because I'm the Minister for Tourism, where branding is a big thing, it is really concerning for me. But we'll talk more when we get back.
Exactly. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacist will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister who has constitutional responsibility for tourism and transport here in the Cayman Islands. Just to remind our listeners that when we return from our next commercial break after headline news, we will be opening up the phone lines. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. Put your phone on speed dial to Radio Cayman's number if you want to call in as well. Minister, over to you.
Thank you so much, O.C. And just to wrap up the Miss Cayman situation, the government has decided it will no longer hold the Miss Universe franchise and hopes that somebody privately will continue to do so so that Caymanian women can have the opportunity to take part in the pageant. But we have decided that the Cayman Islands government should no longer be in the business directly as a franchise holder. Just quickly to update you on two other matters. My recent travels, I just came back from Curacao and Jamaica. Curacao was a CTO, which is a Caribbean Tourism Organization annual meeting, whereby I'm the chairman to give updates on what's happening within the Caribbean region as all the members, the ministers and members of the organization, where we're going forward, what is our marketing plan, and so forth. That was a beautiful experience. I must say that Cayman Islands is still the best place in the whole world and in the Caribbean, so be proud of your country. Also, my recent travels last week to Jamaica to the Global Caribbean Resilience Conference. And resilience, now you've been hearing a lot about sustainability across the world, how to be sustainable. And that's about making sure that your product called your home, your country, is not overused and protecting the product so it's sustainable for long-term perspective. Resilience is about being able to survive from products, from events such as natural disasters, political disturbances, pandemics, global warming, hurricanes, and all these types of different things. So as a result, there is now a new approach to not only sustainable but resilience, so that, for example, when we went through the pandemic, it took the world a little while to respond. So resilience, there is a crisis center in Jamaica. It's not only a part of Jamaica, but has been formulated within the Caribbean through Jamaica, that talks about the study of predicting any kinds of events that will affect our tourism market. So keeping an eye on the politics, the environment, the industry behavior, inflation, the markets, and making sure that we can make adjustments based on data analysis so we have least amount of effect on any kind of event that will affect our tourism market, so we can be able to recover and move fastly. Basically, recovering, for example, COVID, we would already had a plan of how to handle it beforehand, before it happens. So that's what resilience is about. I would also take this opportunity before we go to the 9 o'clock news and take
we still have
calls.
about 6 minutes. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
I want to take this opportunity to congratulate 3 amazing individuals who have been added to our Department of Tourism. And I'm happy to say it is 3 Caymanian women in senior management roles. So the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism is pleased to announce the following new hires. Ms. Marzeta Borden, Deputy Director of Tourism and Product Development. Ms. Lauren Brooke, Manager of Global Public Relations Services, and Miss Tristica Ebanks, Manager of National Promotions and Events. And Tristica is a pretty special person. When you see her, you can ask her why.
Always a smile on her face.
Always a smile on her face. I tell you, that young lady lights up a room. She's really special. But all three of these ladies are awesome.
And Miss Marzitas, she's coming from Celebrate Cayman.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And I want to say this. I know that things are going great with tourism now. At least we're going in the right direction, and we're projected to do even better this year. But I take a lot of credit for a lot of hard work of great people, from the ministry to the Department of Tourism, not only here locally, but across the world, that represent the Cayman Islands and sell our product called Cayman. And I am so honored to represent. I think I have the best ministry and the best departments in the whole of government. And I'm so glad to be the Minister of Tourism. So I just want to say congratulations to these three amazing women. And also congratulations to the Director of Tourism, Ms. Rosa Harris, who is so awesome. She's such a strong woman and strong leader with her team. So I'm proud of them. And we will continue to move forward in a positive direction and continue to make tourism profitable and good for the Cayman Islands, but particularly for Caymanians to have an opportunity to survive and live in our Cayman Islands. I am also going to be visiting in about a week and a half from now, going to Barbados to formally meet for the first time the whole administration of the Caribbean Tourism Organization as the chairman. The main office for the CTO is in Barbados. They do have a large staffing complement over there. I contemplated whether or not we should have tried to get the office in the Cayman Islands, but its foundations was built in Barbados, so I had to quickly put that one out of my mind. But I'm excited to go and see all of the staff, which I am the lead for as the chairman, and see the awesome work they do behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see on a regular basis, but also to update the Caribbean. There will be a national press conference where I'll update the region on the positive growth of tourism, not only for Cayman, but for the whole Caribbean. So that's an annual thing that I have to do, and also visit and sit with the staff over there as I am leading it from the chairman perspective. So I'll be away for a week next week, and I think that covers most of the things that's going on within my ministry for now. We are awaiting the Deloitte report, which talks about solutions to the public transport system. Public transport, meaning the buses. That's the only area of transport I have responsibility for. I don't have responsibility for roads or DVDL or any other area of it. But it is one component of it, and I'm trying to see how best we can improve the public bus system itself. I saw some preliminaries of that report, and there is low-hanging fruit that we can address. I'm talking to the ministry, which is the Honorable J. Ebanks, and his chief officer, Mr. Eric Bush, who would be the movers of any change in legislation. Because actually, as I keep on saying, transport unit is actually a unit of DVDL. So all the changes within the Traffic Act, actually, I can't bring it because it doesn't fall under me, technically. Yeah. It was moved some almost 20 years ago because of the licensing of taxis and tours from a tourism perspective. I don't think that was the best move in the world, I must say. I think we could have still addressed the tourism component with it being where it should be, which is with DVDL and with roads, to have a more comprehensive approach to transport. But all the same, we are one government, and I'm trying my best to work to do my part. So that report will help us give suggestions to the minister as to what legislation he would have to bring to Parliament, because I can't do it constitutionally, as it's not my area of responsibility. So that wraps that up, and I'm open to any questions and any things that I should add. I'm quite sure my team is going to text me in a minute to update.
Okay, folks, top of the hour, headline news. When we return, the phone lines will be open, and we will be taking your calls, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
The Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency releases its Climate Change Risk Assessment Report. The final evidence report identifies, scores, and ranks 50 risks related to biodiversity and habitats, the economy, and society in the islands. The full technical evidence report and non-technical summary are available for review at gov.ky. In international headlines, the Pentagon announces a new package of long-term security assistance for Ukraine today, marking the first anniversary of Russia's invasion with a $2 billion commitment to send more rounds of ammunition and a variety of small high-tech drones into the fight. This comes just days after President Joe Biden made an unannounced visit to Kiev, pledging America's continued commitment to Ukraine. The crew operating a freight train that derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, didn't get much warning before dozens of cars went off the tracks, and there is no indication that crew members did anything wrong. That, according to federal investigators, as they released a preliminary report into the fiery wreck that prompted a toxic chemical release and an evacuation. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The Headline News are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
HSA's cardiology clinic is now located at Smith Road Medical Center. Our cardiology team provides expert care and treatment for heart conditions such as coronary artery disease, heart failure, arrhythmias, hypertension, congenital heart diseases, among others. The new location offers state-of-the-art cardiac diagnostic testing, including echocardiograms, ECGs, and stress tests. To contact, call 949-8600. At HSA, your heart matters to us.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It's my pleasure to have in the studio with me the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister for Tourism and Transport. Ms. Susan, any callers? Do we have any callers? What? 2 callers. Let's grab the callers. I know, but I will tell the minister about this one off air. But one of our big fans sent a WhatsApp message to me. So let's go to the phone lines. First caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the Honorable Minister.
Good morning, big brother. How you doing?
Holding for 31 minutes. Did not lose this opportunity because my intention this morning was to call in anyway and talk behind your back.
I'm glad you're talking in front of my face now.
Well, I'm going to make reference to your Cayman Airways finance as voodoo economics. That was going to be my title.
Oh, boy.
But since you're on here and you brought up the Cayman Airways, I'm going to turn my comments more into a question.
Okay.
I understand, but I heard your dialogue went in the direction of dock. In my opinion, and I still have this belief that the dock should go in the North Sound because of Captain Charles, Mr. Bobby Soda, and all them who mapped out the floor, the seabed of the North Sound with little flags monitoring the movement of the Conrad all year round and their opinion. We always want to use our old people's opinion when it's convenient for us.
That's true.
They always wanted to put the dock in the North Sound.
So let me ask you something.
Wait a minute.
Sorry,
now.
go ahead.
I have the same belief of Mr. Arden McLean in East End, former minister, who kicked against putting the dock inland in East End concerning flooding the lands on the inside, all the water lands, and we're trying to promote farming with salt water. So I don't if you can tell me that dredging the North Sound is bad, you can't tell me that cutting across the reef in breakers and going into the ponds, the quarries in the back are better than putting the dock in the North Sound. Nobody can convince me of that, right? And you touch on the Panama. You better hurry do that. before Chamber of Commerce close it down. And you mentioned the price, which is what I wanted to call in about today. It's 200 something, 1 hour and 15 minutes, 20 minutes out to Panama. Okay. As you know, I frequent the commute between Cayman and Honduras. I had to pay $400 and something the other day. You have suspended the Monday flight. I have friends 2 weeks ago that was on standby. 5 people from East End were on standby, couldn't go because the flight had been suspended. I'm not sure if that is to accommodate the LA flight that is 5.5 hours or 6.5 hours for $300 and something. But I got to take a 45 minutes flight to La Ceiba, Honduras for $400 and something. Now you just mentioned out to Panama, $200 and something. So that's where the title Voodoo Economics we're gonna come in.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, and I'm understanding from an individual that back from LA on her flight, it was 6 people. But you can't hear about it from Nicaragua. You can't hear about it from Nicaragua and everywhere else in Central America on the La Ceiba flight. And we would all go, even to your I don't know what title he is now. He told me he would like to go, but only on weekends. Nobody can afford to go for the whole week from Friday to Friday. Not, all the Caymanians that would always like to go over there. We go Friday, we come back Monday. But now we're forced to go for a whole week.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because if it goes on Monday and Thursday,
Monday flight and it go Friday and come back Friday, then how we gonna get up?
Which flight are you talking about? The one to Panama, or are you talking about the LA?
La Ceiba.
La Ceiba. Okay.
$400 and something.
Okay.
But I can go Panama now so sound like I should fly to Panama, take a bus down to La Ceiba and look for my son.
Well, I mean, by all means, I don't think we're gonna always have everything perfect. I'm not sure why the reason is the management has decided to either pull back on some of the routes to Honduras. I'm quite sure it must be in connection with the feasibility and profitability of any route. That one is not from a tourism perspective. I think it's just from the relationship with Cayman and Honduras and our family connectivity and the amount of residents who would want. So it's based on the demand. So their job is to try to balance the amount of demand as opposed to the profitability of a route. There's other routes that are more strategic from a tourism perspective, and in this case with Panama, a trade perspective. So I'm not sure, but I can ask the team what's happening with Honduras. Because Hondurans, Caymanians are very important to me. Graham, you know that, and I don't want them to be disenfranchised. But we have to also understand that there is going to be the same expectation on Cayman Airways to make a reasonable profit or to be doing routes that they can justify. So I'll ask the team what happened. Why are we making these moves? Are they making practical sense? But I don't make the decisions directly. I'm the manager. I'm the minister. I make the policy. I select a board of directors. Their job is to oversee the CEO and his management team to make sure they're making the right decisions. So ideally, I will ask this question to my chairman to ask his team, is everything going good? Is there anything you can update me on so I can update the public? But I know that the Cayman Airways staff is doing the best that they can with all circumstances because everybody wants a route to everywhere. But Honduras is very important to us, so I will definitely look into that.
That's why you should put me on the board of directors.
I should have. Honestly, I should have, but Sandra Catron would eat you alive if I ever put you on there. So
spend more money on Cayman Airways than anybody that sit on the board. I can say that publicly.
I would like to answer your other question. I can't remember what it was about the cargo. Oh, the fact that it's in the North Sound. Now, granted, there's going to be many different views about where it should be or where it shouldn't be. And I encourage the public to continue to think about what their viewpoints are, where it should be or shouldn't be, or whether we should do anything at all, and why. Because this is going to become a major discussion point. I know that I've heard so many people say that the North Sound itself is probably the most logical basin because it presents a great harbor for shipping. But I also know in the same vein that every time you open your mouth about that, people go nuts. They like about that.
One of our listeners just sent me a WhatsApp and an article from News Star when that was being proposed as well. I'm trying to find a date on this article.
He got that from me.
Oh, okay, and that was a $200 and something million proposal that was being put forward then, and that met with lots of resistance. I mean, not only is the North Sound an ideal place for a harbor if there weren't other issues and other impacts, and the North Sound area is one, of the areas that is the breeding nest for, much of our fauna in the Cayman Islands as well. So,
yeah. So as a result, I mean, I think that what we have to recognize is that regardless of what we do, there is going to be some negative elements to our environment. And I think the role of the next process now is to find which one has the least amount of impact with the most amount of benefit. And obviously that's a very subjective viewpoint, but that's why we ask the professionals to give us recommendations as a government to find what is the best way forward with this. So I look forward to seeing that. And I want to at least give credit where credit is due in respect to one individual, and that's Mr. Joseph Woods. He was the former acting director for a long time. He's put a lot of work into this report, and in his analysis, I think was in great depth, and he should be accredited for that. He's no longer at the port. He's now retired, but he did a great job with this report, so I want to give him credit with that. And again, I encourage everybody to see if you can get access to this report and read it for yourselves, because when people are going to start putting their bias points one way or the other, I want you to inform yourselves, because don't trust half of what you're hearing. Even politicians themselves have their own viewpoint for their own angle. Take your own angle, because I could suspect, like somebody texted me just this morning and say, well, where the port goes should be on the referendum too. So it's already getting to that point in respect to discussions.
Yeah, that was a question that I had as well.
See, you're getting the same thing. Okay. So yes. But I want us to be informed. I don't want to be swayed, because politics is a very weird animal, and people who have agendas will try to sway it the way they want to sway it. My agenda is to make sure that as your minister, I bring you a problem, show you what the pros and cons are to the reality, and we make this decision together, because I'm doing it for you. I'm working for you. If we say together as a country, well, we're going to suffer the consequences, and we don't want no port, and we don't want to damage anything, well, I'm doing my job to represent you. But we're going to suffer the consequences when the time comes.
Okay.
But just remember we did it together.
Yep.
So
we're going to try to grab another caller before we go to the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller.
How are you doing there, Mr. Connor?
I'm fine. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Kerry Lawrence speaking here.
Good morning, Mr. Lawrence.
Morning. Mr. Bryan, we're talking about sustainability and food and importation, right?
Uh-huh.
Obviously, you know that I have a project brought forward to the government. It's out in John Public, what I'm trying to do. I think it'll take care of some of the issues we have. I'm not saying it's going to take care of all our food sustainable issues, because it can't, right? But it can take care of some of our food issues, right? And I am wondering, where the government is on cutting some red tape. Not asking you all to do anything illegal. Let's get that straight, right? To help go through the red tape and getting this project forward. And if the government have anything negative or something they want to change in it, say something so we know where we're at, right? Because we've been at this now for a while, and I have a young Caymanian with me that I'm helping and pushing forward. You saw the proposal. Mr. Connor seen it. He knows about it. And I just want to know. Sorry to call you and put you on the spot, but it's a little bit frustrating, to be quite honest. Right.
Well, Mr. Kerry, no need to feel sorry. My job is I'm a minister, a part of this government, and If you need to put me on a spot every single day, then that's what I get paid to do, and I'm not afraid of that. It is difficult to try to answer your question for the public to understand without giving them the full details. One of which that is obviously in private discussions with the government. You're also aware that the deciding factor of what you want for you and your company, though I believe it's a good thing for the society and the Cayman Islands, isn't fully it's not under my responsibility. But I'm a minister of a cabinet, so I'm not shying away from that. But am I allowed to have context so the public can understand what we're talking about?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so basically,
because I have a video that's coming out now. Anyway.
Okay, perfect. So let me just give the listening audience what's happening here. So Mr. Kerry Lawrence and other partners have created a cantina farm, beautiful setup, basically growing vegetation within a cantina with UV ray lights, and it's a very sustainable model. But in his business model, in order for him to be sustainable, he needs a certain amount of solar in order to fund the operation they want to do.
To be able to generate his own power.
To generate his own power. Yeah. But they need to, in order to make enough power to facilitate that, to make it sustainable, you need economies of scale. So he needs to do a lot more than what he will use to be able to sell back the excess amount in order to fuel, to bring down the cost per kilowatt for his farming. One which I agree, but it falls under the what they're called again, the regulators, off-reg. And the law, you'd have to have special permissions for a sole provider to be able to get 3 megawatts? Yeah. So correct. Now he's come and met with the government, and I think almost all members, at least I know I've visited, and 2 other members have visited. And his representative, the Honorable Sabrina Turner, is a major advocate for him. So I want you to remember that. Sabrina is working really hard for you.
I tell her that all the time, and I mention her name all the time.
Okay. So now the decision has to be made on a holistic scale, but from a legal component, we need the findings as to where it's a justification and the other components that will have effect on the CUC relationship within government. So I think that I don't think that you've gotten a no from government. I'm almost certain of that. And I think what you're saying is you want to know the answer right away. I can't tell you that because I'm not the person.
Not really right away. What it is, Mr. Bryan, is we've done all the research, right? So I've read through all the off-reg bylaws. I've read through what government can and can't do. So I know all this, right? This is not something I don't know, right? So I know all this stuff. But the issue is, in the meantime, while off-reg are sitting on their hands, doing nothing, as they have done for many, many, many years, right? Whether I know that wasn't under your administration, right? It's been ongoing with off-reg doing nothing to get anything done with solar on this island, basically, right? They've been feeding the island with a little bit here and a little bit there, and you have a waiting list where nobody can get on it because people have been waiting for 3 years for it, right? Okay? So these are the issues that are holding Cayman back. And when we're talking about food sustainability, and it goes greater than just the greens, the whole proposal, like can grow almost anything, strawberries, you name it. Right? Besides mango trees. Okay? so it goes bigger than that, right? And we've offered, just so the public know, to train Caymanians, put it in UCCI, all this stuff, Mr. Connor know all this stuff, we can get it out there, and train our Caymanians and make it be a Cayman sustainable project, right? Okay? For a minimal amount of payback, as you know what all the numbers are. Right? So what is confusing to me is because we know that we have a food sustainability issue, and we know that it's coming, and we can see it. COVID taught us, and other things taught us that our shelves go empty very quickly if there's a pandemic or if anything. Now, we have a project here that seems to me have other Caribbean islands that are willing to push this thing forward and get it going in those countries. But I live here, and that is what is disappointing to me. This is where I live, right? And
so caller, the gist of it is basically you need a more immediate response from off-reg, and whether or not the government can spur that response.
Correct.
Well, Mr. Carey, I'm going to tell you how I operate, and most people know that, right? I agree with you. We do not make decisions fast enough, and I'm not afraid to say that. I think that we, as a government, need to be more decisive on what we do, response to people in respect to the requests. You have to live with your decisions. That's my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. But if you do not get the answer that you think you or the people of Cayman could be benefit from, come and argue your point in the public domain. Sometimes you get the best answers you want from the people that you are intending to serve, because nobody guides me other than the people of the Cayman Islands. And I think your position is a logical one. I can't understand why we're not there yet. And I'm going to sit with and ask the Premier and the Deputy Premier, where are we on this? Because I think what you are trying to offer is a genuine one. But maybe there might be something I don't know. And Kerry, I'm not going to try to pick sides here on the matter, but regardless of what it is, a decision needs to be made. Yeah. That's how I believe we should operate. So, Kerry, I promise you that I'll try to reach out to both parties today. And, Kerry, if at least by the end of the weekend, I can say something to you. Okay, my brother?
No problem. Thank you. Have a good day, sir.
You, caller, thank you very much as well. We're about 5 minutes over the commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister for Tourism and Transport. Before we go back to the phone lines, because we have a few callers queued up there, but this WhatsApp message came in this earlier as well. It says, can the minister say if the government will have a campaign to address the serious littering problem in Cayman? The BRAC is now experiencing a roadside litter problem as more and more people relocate there as well. We must demand better of all citizens in regard. Our laws must be enforced. Cleanliness is next to godliness.
I couldn't agree with that caller anymore. I must say that the beautification committee, upon which I appointed, spearheaded by Miss Teresa Lewis Pitcairn, was on the radio yesterday with one of the ministry staff, Miss Marjorie, talking about a report that was done by the committee. And in that report, it did a deep dive into how we can resolve some of the littering issues that we have. And I'm going to try to be as cautious as I possibly can without upsetting the apple cart. But the report was done by that committee. I'm the minister responsible for that committee. But the report and its findings and the proposed changes fall under all other legislation other than mine. So Department of Environment, DCI, roads, all of the key areas, police, that needs to deal with enforcement for littering that we have. I can't bring the changes because they have to be done by the minister who has those laws fall under them. And I'm not here to try to highlight any particular individuals, but the report has been given to all cabinet ministers. The report highlights the areas upon which this committee has worked ever so hard on to say, we are a committee have been selected to look at cleanliness in the country. They work really hard, free of cost. Gave the recommendations, and every minister has it. And I don't know what else to do. I am the minister responsible for the committee, but the legislation for it to be brought doesn't fall under me. And I was disappointed to hear just yesterday that Ms. Teresa Lewis Pitcairn, who is the chairman of this committee, was not even given the graciousness of hearing from the various departments to say, we recognize your report, we'll be looking at its recommendations and move forward. I'm embarrassed, to be honest. I'm happy to hear that she did say that one area, which is DCI, was in conjunction with her. So I also happy to hear that she's been in much conversations with Mr. Sims from DEH. But the changes that DEH needs within the legislation to have a stronger enforcement on litter, there's nothing happening with it.
Now, and this is where the Cabinet Office comes in, but we can't blame the Cabinet Secretary for it because, when the office of the Cabinet Secretary was introduced, we knew, what its purview was. And part of it was policy coordination. Now, this is where you're talking about different entities having different responsibilities, but trying to achieve one objective at the end of the day. And this is where the Cabinet Office should be used for that. But unfortunately, it isn't being done simply because government is still operating in silos. Something that we try to address, try to get rid of it, but certain people just don't want to give up, their piece of the rock. They just don't want to give it up, and we have to stop working in silos if we're going to, have things properly coordinated.
I can't dispute that. It's my responsibility as well as every other member of the government to work together, and we try to do that. There's a lot of things on our plate, and everybody's trying to accomplish a lot of things. Ms. Teresa Lewis Pitcairn said something yesterday which triggered my mind, which is prioritizing certain things. And as the Minister for Tourism, whose job is to manage and analyze the product called Cayman, what we have to recognize is the tourism is a business. We sell something. That what we're selling is our product, and what it is Cayman. And she's 100% right. As I am traveling all the other Caribbean islands, I say to myself, boy, I tell you one thing, Cayman's still the best no matter what. Because as great as they may have in the various different countries, Cayman still tops it all because we have the best of a number of things together. Our infrastructure is top notch. I tell you this, for a man who's traveling a lot now, appreciate the roads you have. Appreciate the roads that you have. Some of the best big time islands you hear about around the Caribbean, boasting this and boasting that, pure potholes they have. Remember, I tell you that, and I can't go any further than that. But the safety, we're still the safest Caribbean island in the world. Our standards are the highest in the Caribbean. Our political system is the most stable in the Caribbean. Our investment demand is the highest in the Caribbean. We just have so much of the best. And one of the things I must say, OC, I say, well, what is it that Cayman doesn't have any natural resources? What is it that is attractive about Cayman? And I figured out it's the combination of all of those things together. And the Cayman kind that we know today as individuals come from a base of standards and attitude. And I'm seeing them diminish what's called the broken window syndrome, where people is not as happy and as kind and saying, good morning, sir, how you doing? Or open the door, or make sure you keep your yard clean. We had an attitude of the next door neighbor, if the person didn't wake up the yard, they'll be like, look at her, she didn't wake up her yard. But as much as that may sound like criticism, what it is a social pressure of cleanliness and pride. And our pride is slowly starting to diminish, and as a result, the diminishing of that pride is also reducing the quality of
life and quality of life.
Quality of life and product called Cayman.
Yep.
And I agree when I go back to the point with Ms. Teresa Lewis Pitcairn, which is the product Cayman, our cleanliness, our attitude, our standards, is why people come here, right? And if that is not put at the top of the priority, I'm not going to have a product to sell as minister. So I agree with her. I really, really wish that we can put it more as a priority. It's hard when people are stuck in traffic, housing, cost of living, and all that. But let me tell you, there's something dwindling within our society that if we make it catch up on us, before we know it, we're not going to be as attractive because the culture, the cleanliness, the attitude, our approach, this is slowly, bit by bit by bit by bit by bit, is being diminished. And once it's gone, it's going to take another 10, 20 years to get it back, if you can get it back.
If you can get it back. Yeah. Okay, we have to go to a commercial break. We have 5 callers on hold. When we return, we're going straight to the phone lines. We're going to ask each caller to please be as brief as possible. So those of you who are queued up there, hang in there. As soon as we return, we will take your calls. Please stay tuned.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay Mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
For government schools, standard student registration for the 2023-2024 academic year starts March 1st. Register your child online at schools.edu.ky by May 31st or take advantage of the late registration option from June 1 to 30th. Only applications submitted on or after March 1st will be processed for the 2023-2024 academic year. Brought to you by the Department of Education Services.
Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m. Proudly brought to you by Walkers, a reputation for excellence. Learn more about the Walkers Scholarship and Legal Training Program at walkersglobal.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. 5 callers on hold. We're asking each caller to please be mindful of the fact that someone is waiting behind you as well. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning.
And good morning, Honorable Minister.
Good morning,
Bryan.
ma'am. Good morning.
Okay. Well, Osino, he got to get this one. I just want to say that I've been waiting for 40 minutes, 40 minutes. So I was wondering if that was my cue that no one wanted to speak to me and should I hang up. But anyway.
Well, we only started taking the calls at 9 o'clock. We reminded people that we would take them at 9.
So I was trying to be ahead of
okay. Got you. Got you.
Although I will say that the phone lines are still not working properly because I had quite a problem getting through. Okay. All right. So, Minister, in fairness to the other callers, I hope that I'm allowed enough time to say what I'd like to say, but you can let me say it and then answer after, just so that, the other callers will have a chance. The first thing I would like to touch on is the Miss Cayman. Miss Cayman universe. And you stated in your remarks that, I heard you say that the government will be giving it up. And because you foresee problems in the future. And you also said that, this is a Cayman brand. The Queen will be wearing our sash, which has Miss Cayman Islands. So with that being said, since you foresee these problems, and I know what you're talking about, wouldn't it have been better then to just not carry on with it? Because if the private sector takes it over, we're going to have that same problem, and you'll have less control over it because it will be with the private sector, and it will still be, the girl is going to still be wearing the Cayman brand. And I just want to say, for full disclosure, I did serve on the Miss Cayman committee for many, many years. And frankly, I am disappointed by the whole matter surrounding this particular incident. And it could have been avoided if the proper vetting had been done before the pageant took place. Let me just say that loud and clear, because I've said it before. And in fairness, I didn't say to you, I don't think, so I'm saying it now. And I am also very disappointed that the government will not be the holder of this franchise. This is a very prestigious franchise, and I can't think of anyone better to hold it than our government. And if not under the Ministry of Tourism, then it could have been under Culture. So that's about Miss Cayman. I'm going to move on to Cayman Airways. I just wanted to ask you if any consideration has been or will be given to the Miami flights, because obviously we don't have the options that we used to have, and I'm sure you know that a lot of Caymanians, me being one, travel to Miami quite frequently for medical purposes, and I find the flights now to be very inconvenient. So I was just wondering if any thought would be given to trying to change the roster for the Miami flights.
Okay, caller.
Thank you so much.
And then I want to move on to Cuba with the changes now that Jamaica will be making with the visa for Cubans coming to Jamaica. Has Cayman Airways prepared itself for the present situation with Cayman Airways going to Cuba, I guess every day of the week, and overnighting like 3 nights a week to bring back Cubans to go to Jamaica on to Nicaragua. So I was just wondering if, any consideration had been given to what changes now should be made based on what Jamaica is doing. Okay. Thank you for your time, and I'll give another caller a chance.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. So we're going to take a few calls. We have about 8 minutes before we go to the commercial break. So we'll take the calls until then. When we return from the break, then we can respond to those that we have received so far. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Pretty good. I heard good morning, Honorable Minister.
Good morning, sir.
I heard the minister made a comment on your radio. He says that he has the best ministry in the government. I would like to ask the minister then, what minister has the worst one? If you have the best one, which minister has the worst ministry?
Well, I think we all have the best ministries. You see,
Well,
I think you didn't. I think you may have misunderstood my thing, which is we all have the best ministries within government. I don't think there's certain circumstances in life that allows you to have the best of everything, And we are in that position today that we all have the best ministries. But if you think I was going to fall for that trap, you can think again.
So, coming to Ms. Cayman, it didn't surprise me that the government wind up in this position, because in the 1980s, I had the franchise for Miss World, Miss Universe from 1983 until 1986. The 3 people who were the Miss Cayman were Miss Cayman Universe, with FE Banks from West Bay, Miss Tara Crichton, Miss Tora Crichton, and Miss Emily. I think Miss Emily Ebanks and Miss Emily herself from North Side. We didn't have any problems with it. The problem that we have was the outsiders, the people who were agitating that, like Steve McPhee has a franchise in Miss World, Miss Universe. What the hell does he know about beauty? But what we were able to do, we were able to make a deal with Nissan Motors, and we had every year we got a car for Miss Cayman from Nissan Motors, and we got a car, the auction at the raffle at the Miss Cayman pageant, and I think that I had one of the best directors of the Miss Cayman Beauty pageant was Wendy Dakin, who was training all the girls and so forth. She worked in the Miss Cayman pageant for some 3 years.
Dr. Matfield, before you leave, I do really want to ask you a question in respect to the Central Scranton Park. I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm afraid that OC may let you go without me getting to say something. But you know you are in charge of a very vital piece of property in the Central Scranton area, which I'm trying to acquire on behalf of the good people of Georgetown. Are you willing to help me by selling that property so we can develop the Central Scranton Park? Please, Dr. Macfield,
We're not going to sell it. Let me tell you, Minister, we're not going to sell it for nothing. Because let me tell you why. In my opinion, people who value land had valued the land some of the lowest in Georgetown in that area. And most of that land was owned by 4 people. And what they seem to have been doing is to value the land so that the land could be cheap. 4 people could sell their land off, and then in 6 months, 9 months, they had nothing. And we're not going to sell the land for the value that we got for it, because we think that the land is valued more than that.
Well, I agree with you, and the government doesn't want to do that, buy no land for small value. We're willing to pay a good price for it because we want to do this park for the people of Georgetown in their memory, particularly Central. And you know how important that piece of law is. I beg of you to work with us so we can get this park done.
The price of land is what a willing seller will sell for, and what a willing person will buy.
Well, I hope that you're willing to do so on behalf of the people of Georgetown Central, because it's so important to the development of that park.
It's my opinion that what they did was they value all that land far below the market value that what it's worth, and then poor people were left now who want to sell with little or nothing. That compared to other parts of Georgetown, where land is $56 a square foot, they value that land for nothing. Well, we're not going to do that.
Well, I'm happy to take a price from you that you're willing to offer. But you don't want to say what you want the value of the land for.
I don't think we want to negotiate that here on the radio. I mean, Doc, I want you to be able to. We have about 2 minutes before we go to a commercial break, so you have 2 minutes to cover the Miss Cayman Universe franchise.
So the Miss Cayman Miss World Universe franchise, like I said, I had that for 3 years, and that came after Miss Teresa Lewis won the Miss Cayman, and there was no money for her. And the franchise holder there, who was Miss Harriet Holstern, came to me and asked me if I would take it over. Okay. And I took it over and helped Miss Teresa through other people raise money to send her off to the Miss Universe. And,
so do you believe it's a good idea now for government to relinquish it?
Exactly. Government should have never been in it in the first place.
Okay.
and what I'm trying to say is because when I had it, they had all kinds of people trying to get it from me, telling all kinds of stuff, but they have never had a show and a franchise better than those days when I had it, because I don't see Miss Cayman getting in a new car. I don't see any car being auctioned at the Miss Universe at the pageant now. I don't see any of that. It's sort of muffled. And the last show I had was at Pageant Beach. I cleared up the whole of Pageant Beach and had a stage that from those condominiums on the other side of Pageant Beach where the people got dressed and come on the stage and so forth. And not only that, but I brought people like Antonio Vargas from Huckleberry from Starsky and
Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch. I brought Miss Texas, and I brought Miss Canada here. I don't see any of that happening now. It's because people are so people are so vile now and jealous of each other and not cooperative that they will do anything now to sabotage anybody else. And that's how the government got it. Because of the sabotage that went on after I gave it up. And so forth. So those were the best days of the pageants, and I don't see any pageant that can match those days when we were the directors. And I had both franchises, and Miss Wendy Deakin was committee chairman, and she did all of the training for all the girls, her and Lana Cayasso, and all of those people who were on board.
Okay. Doc, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for that. Miss Susan, we're going to take our last commercial break. How many callers do we have on hold at this point in time? How many callers do we have on hold? What? 2 callers still? 1 caller. We're going to ask that caller to hang in there, closing off the phone lines after that caller, because the minister has to respond to all that was, or as much as he can, in terms of what was said before. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
105.3 Breeze FM live. Now it's a man Bushman representing for 105.3 Breeze FM.
Hey, this is DJ Lynn. Join me Sundays from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Breeze 105.3 for Beach and Reggae Sundays. Whether you're out in a boat, in the backyard, or simply on the beach catching some sun, it's the perfect way to unwind for the weekend as the sun sets on our beautiful Caribbean Sea. Join us this Sunday from 2 p.m. on Breeze 105.3 Beach and Reggae Sundays.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio K-Man.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on our last call, and I want to thank that caller for being so patient as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, O.C.
Morning. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, man. Morning, Mr. Bryan. How you doing?
Good morning, Braca. How you doing?
Yeah, calling to you like a long-lost friend, but you know who I am.
I know who it is. But, I was there on Sunday, and I was hoping that I could find you, but the place was closed, so I drove. But I don't know where your house is in Canberra, and that's the problem. But anyway, besides that.
Street, it's all friggin' dry on Brig Street. Anyhow, let's get back to the basics.
Yes, yeah.
No, Mr. Bryan, before you was ever elected, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was one of the people that always called in about the whole cars, the littering, the junk, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now we have this committee going on, and not one person have called, say, Elvis, would you like to be involved? Do you want to get involved? Not one call. But anyhow, I got still fight my fight. But I called him back to Miss Teresa Pitcairn.
Mm-hmm.
That lovely lady, that encyclopedia, and the gentleman that just left there, Dr. Steele, the encyclopedia of the Cayman Islands. You know, okay, who is the Attorney General of this country?
Mr. Samuel Bulgin.
Good. Thank you. Miss Teresa said she got all of the things together.
and sent it to him as a respectable lawyer over 4 months ago about dealing with the laws and things. And up until yesterday, she said she got no reply. So, and she said the complacency of these government workers, sometimes if you sit down one spot too long, you need to cool it. You need to move, And I think now it's time for those people to be removed. Now, I can't speak too loud because, I'm still hanging on the wire. But when you see the things that going on in our country, like denying the welcome and brackers from being in the jury of our country, we, Kenneth, Bryan, we have a problem. You hear what I tell you?
Yes, sir.
We, sir, you're elected member now. Listen, if the good Lord help me in the next election to get elected, if I still have the health and strength, and I walk through those doors where you have a privilege to walk in, that I can get immunity to say what I got to say. The Cayman Islands, the people eyes will be open. We have to open our eyes because, Mr. Bryan, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man
is king.
Is the king. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much, caller. I'm not going to say much more on the report that Ms. Teresa Lewis Pitcairn and her team has created. I just want to say thank you to her and the hardworking committee and Ms. Heather Bawden for putting so much effort into trying to structure something to address this cleanliness issue that we have developed over the last couple of decades. And I want to also say that the blame, and I mean a bad word, the responsibility and some of the things have been identified to also fix them is not only about those persons who are responsible for carrying out the action. So we do have some enforcement that can be done that is not being done. But we do have a lot of departments who want to do more, but who can't do more because the law doesn't give them the strength to do more. So who's in charge of the laws? I take full responsibility as a part of this government that me and my government need to do better. Okay. So that end the story there.
So we have another WhatsApp message here. The person says that they'd like to know why consideration is not being given to increase the frequency of cargo ships that arrive in the Cayman Islands instead of talking about dredging and spending millions of dollars. As it stands now, there are no cargo ships coming here Mondays and Tuesdays and sometimes Fridays. So why can't that be spread out? But
I could quickly answer it.
Sure.
Again, the projections are in 10 years that those dates will be filled up. We also know that the current cargo location is split between cruise and cargo. So it only operates after 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. Hence the reason why if we didn't deal with cruise at all and it was just purely cargo, then we wouldn't have as big of a deal. But unless you are saying to every person who's involved in any industry related to cruise that we are no longer going to allow cruise passengers here in the Cayman Islands, then you need another cargo facility.
Okay. Now, we had one of the callers, and she's had various questions, and
yes,
I'm sure you're going to get to those.
Yes.
And to help along with one of those questions, one of our listeners has said that the new immigration rules for Cubans has already reduced the passenger loads from Havana to Grand Cayman for the Cuban exodus, quote-unquote exodus, by probably 75% already.
Correct.
That's what they
so that does help answer the question in respect to what we're doing with Cuba. But more importantly, I think she wanted to know what's happening. And I think it's not only her, but a number of callers calling about what's happening with Cayman Airways and the different routes. So I'm going to be asking the chairman, Mr. John Paul Clark, and the CEO, Mr. Fabian, or delegate for either one of them to come on Radio Cayman in the future, in the next week or so, to come and say why, where we're going, what is the decisions are. Because there's been some fundamental changes. But bearing in mind, we only have a fleet of 4 jets, and maneuvering based on supply and demand is their job and responsibility, so they can best justify it. I don't micromanage, but if there is questions I need to ask, I will ask, and they'll give me the assessment. But I think you're better off hearing it directly from the board chairman and the managing director at the airline. So I'll ask them to come along. In respect to Miss Cayman, was the last point that she made. I knew that we're not going to have everybody who agree that government shouldn't have it or should keep it. But remember, government wasn't the first person to have it. It was actually in private sector before, and government saved it. In an ideal world, I didn't want to give it up at all. But we do have other priorities to focus on and can't be distracted by that, especially when we can get the same benefits that it would offer for exposure and marketing if somebody else privately had it. So that's why we decided to go down that route. Okay. But we will still continue to support young women in their development through pageantry, as we've always done.
Okay. And then this person says, why doesn't Cayman Airways code share with Sosa Airlines of Honduras? Say this arrangement would be a win-win if they could handle the Monday flights. And then they go on to say, and frequent flyers would also get their mileage.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything is possible. There's opportunities all the time, and maybe some of the staff at Cayman Airways is listening now, and especially when I ask them to come back on, be prepared to ask that question, because there's a lot is going on with the growth and success at Cayman Airways, and it'd be good to hear back from the public, so I'll invite them to come on, and if I'm on island, be happy to come on with them. Okay. But I really want to say thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show. It's been a pleasure, and I got to see if I can squeeze on again next week.
Sure. Okay, we'll try to work something out.
I like to hear from the callers, to be honest.
And then one of our listeners wanted to know about the proposed referendum. Where are we at with that?
I wish I could answer that question. I wish I could. Again, another thing that I will bring up with my premier and ask him, because I haven't gotten an update since the last time we were in Parliament. So hopefully, in the caucus on Monday, we can have some sort of update in respect to where we are with the referendum.
And when do you go back to Parliament?
I think there is some suggestions for a finance committee at the end of March. But Parliament itself, I don't know the date. But you see, even that would be a great update that I can have next week. So if Friday's available next week again, I'll be happy to come on and give some more updates. I give updates that are outside of the areas of my responsibility, because I don't only deal with that. I have to answer to everybody for everything. That's my job. I'm a representative of this government, and my job is to try to get as much details. So I'll get as much updates as I can, and if I'm available to come on Friday, I'll be happy to answer.
We'll try to work something out. Any final comments?
No, nothing much other than may God bless each and every one of you listeners. Remember to love each other, love yourselves, and let's not forget God in the spirit of things. I know sometimes our growth and our development of our society has some people trying to push God aside, but if we lose that, trust me, we will lose Cayman. So let's be grateful for what we have, even though as difficult as it is. Trust me, there's other countries that have it way more difficult, and I say that from a position of experience, going to see all the other Caribbean islands and what they're going through. Cayman is still the best place in the Caribbean to stay. So I just want to say I love you all. Have a wonderful weekend. May God bless you and your family.
Okay, well, we got a positive one here. This actually came in early. This person said, good morning, Mr. Connor. Is it true that there's an employee day in the month of February? If so, I would like to say a big thank you to a young lady who collected my CUC bill at the Underrun gas station, Industrial Park, Monday of this week. She sat at the right side nearest to the grocery section. I was totally unaware that I had given her an extra $50 with the amount that I needed to pay. After she took out the amount owed, she promptly returned the money to me. I am so grateful for her honesty. Thank you. So, to that cashier, to that clerk at the Underrun gas station in Industrial Park, whoever you are, and you sat on the right side nearest the grocery section, and this was on, I'm trying to see, did the person say what day they attended there? But a big shout out. That is Caymanian kind. That's right. What Cayman was all about and is still all about to a certain extent. And Minister, before you go, I just want to say, you were talking about the combination of things that we have issues with now in Cayman, that we're not where we want to be in terms of, we're losing that quality, the Cayman brand, as well as the quality of life in the Cayman Islands. And one of the things that is contributing to that is the fact that there are so many people here whose main and sometimes only objective is to make money. And in many instances, they're here to make money not for the good of the Cayman Islands, but for the good of themselves and elsewhere. And yes, we feel good that, we're able to provide employment and opportunities here to hopefully make the world a better place, not only Cayman, but at the same time, it should not be at the expense of the quality and the people, quality of life and the people of the Cayman Islands as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record. I want to thank all of the callers. I want to thank the minister for being here this morning. I want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want, or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the